Good morning. Good lunchtime, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. This is Stephanie Zima with Walk It Free. Welcome to it, where we heal. Walk It Free, where we heal, connect, and level up. Today, we're going to be talking about find your strength and resilience from within. Yes, this is how we're going to close out our week of belief finding because so many are dealing with lack of belief. You have dreams, you have goals, you have ideas, you have things you want to create in your life, and they're just not happening. And they're not happening because you are lacking the belief that it's possible for you. You're lacking the belief that you can do it. You are lacking the belief that it is for you. And today we want to talk a little bit about that and make sure that you kind of can dive in your personal development journey by yourself, or if you need help, I'm here. All right. So while I talk, I would like for you to take a walk. Okay. I would like for you to maybe do some laundry or anything else that you can do while you're listening to me, because so many people say, I don't have time to listen to personal development or do personal development. I never have a minute to sit down and do anything. And the Walk It Free does not have to be you sit here and like intensely staring at me while I'm talking. No, it can be something that you're listening to in your ear. It can be something that you listen to while you are doing something else, or if you want to cook, or if you do housework, clean, whatever it is that you need to do. Listen to the video. Make sure that you're hopping onto my YouTube and subscribe over there, because that way you can save the videos and you can go back and you can like re-listen to it and pause it and all that kind of stuff, because sometimes live videos disappear on a screen and a news feed and then they're gone. So make sure you are there so you have it as a resource. Okay, so before I get started on how to recover from narcissistic behaviors that killed your self-belief, I want you to take a second, really, like take a second to subscribe. Take a second to hop on over there. And if you watch me on Facebook, you can see it on there. If you see me on Instagram, I think my YouTube channel link is up there also. If not, just search for Stephanie Zima Walk It Free. You should find it. It's all there. And if you watch this video on a replay, please make sure you comment replay so that I can connect with you and see what input you have, because I like to ask my community what topics they would like me to speak on next. Okay, because it is something that I do for you. It is something that my experience can help somebody, and not everyone can afford a mentor, and that some people can afford a mentor that holds them accountable, some people can't. I want to be here and serving everyone, because I believe that what I'm talking about is needed in this world, and it's really, really important, as a ripple effect to everyone. Everyone who knows me for a while knows that I am in this for the children, right? I am in this for the children, and children cannot grow up in happy, healthy homes when their adults are dealing with old things in their life. So, hang on one second. I have something happen here. Okay. All right. So, here we go. Narcissistic traits are believed to be a combination of nature and nurture. They may be caused by genetics, early childhood experiences, or a combination of both. So listen to this for a minute. Narcissistic traits can be by genetics, okay, can be passed down. Okay, so if you have multiple people in your world who are also narcissistic, then it could be a genetic situation, but it also can be caused by childhood experiences or even a combination. Okay, narcissistic traits can be learned or acquired through modeling or other environmental factors. This is so important to take a second and understand that narcissistic traits can be learned by modeling. Okay, so if you grew up with people, that does not mean that they have been narcissistic and naturally bad. They may have learned behavioral traits that have been narcissistic, and it's not their fault. Okay, so sometimes when we have situations going on in our healing journeys, we shy away from that because we do not want to blame or throw under the bus other people that we love. Like our parents. I love my mom, I love my dad, I love the people in my surroundings, right? But I cannot say that all of the behaviors were always beneficial. Okay, that's just what it is. And so is me, right? I'm probably not always 150. I'm not God. I'm not 150% positive that I do everything right for my kids. I don't think anyone is. We are humans, and it's important to understand that we are humans, and humans make mistakes. And so, as we are embarking on a personal growth journey, we need to understand that even if narcissistic traits have been there by people in our surroundings, it's not necessarily that they are just bad people. And I feel like that so many people are just pointing fingers and they are narcissistic and that is bad. But what I do believe is that we need to walk ourselves free from what these narcissistic behavior traits that have been in our life, that is a fact, have done with us. Okay, so just keep that in mind, please, as you're going to go through this. Okay, so narcissistic traits include, number one, an excessive need for admiration. Number two, a sense of entitlement. Number three, a preoccupation with power and status. 4, a lack of empathy. 5, an exaggerated sense of self-importance. 6, a need of excessive attention and admiration, and inability to handle criticism. 7, a tendency to take advantage of others. So let's go through those for a second. Okay, so an excessive need for admiration. If you had somebody in your life who's constantly needing, like you when you were a child, you may have, and it, like, again, it doesn't have to be your parent, it can be your teacher, it can be a kindergarten person, it can be your neighbor, it can be anybody who's been in close proximity with you, of some sort, or someone that you have had impact with, right? So an excessive need for admiration, somebody who always needed to be right, and if they weren't right, then maybe they, maybe they were not nice, and maybe they gave you a silent treatment, and maybe they punished you in any other way because you didn't tell them how great they were every single day. Sense of entitlement, like, you owe them, right? You owe them. That could be a sign. And a preoccupation with power and status, obviously, right? Lack of empathy is a big one. Lack of empathy, like if you stubbed your toe and no one really seemed to care, right? Or if you were hurting and no one ever really seemed to care. And so the lack of empathy is a trait of narcissists. And I want to kind of stop here for just 1 second and share just a little bit about how this could go and come about in a very normal family, and how this can have an impact on you and your abilities right now, and your ways of how you cope with life and how to cope with things. So a lack of empathy. A lack of empathy does not necessarily have to come from people who really have a lack of empathy, so that not everybody's a sociopath. A lack of empathy can simply be coming from being detached, okay, detached from something. And I see it a lot. Like when I walk around, I see a lot of adults that are glued to their phones right now. Okay, they're glued to their phones, they're glued to tasks they're doing, they're preoccupied in their mind with life and bills and worries and all that stuff that's happening in their lives, in their adult lives. Now, when you have a child, for example, a child that grows up with you, and something happens to that child, stubs their toe, whatever, right? And you're not seeing that, it can be construed as a lack of empathy. If you're not reacting to their crying, if you're not reacting to how they are feeling right now, if you don't see them because something is happening for you over here, the belief could be formed in that child's mind, no one cares. Okay? No one cares, and it could very well be that they have no empathy. when in fact that's probably not true. You're probably a person who loves everybody and you're just preoccupied. Okay? Now, the reason why I point this out is because you can see how innocent this situation can be. You can see how innocent it can be that one person is just preoccupied with doing the right thing, yet another person can really suffer, okay, and form a belief of no one cares, they don't care about me hurting. That means I must not be good enough. Okay, that means I must not be good enough. So when you have that happening, that is simply a paradigm belief that's building by something completely innocent. Okay, and when I talk about the narcissistic traits, I want you to understand it's not all boo, you are a narcissist, boo, you. Probably all of us have some kind of a narcissistic trait in us, okay? And we need to just watch this. We need to shine the light on those monsters and we need to raise awareness about them, because when we act this way, the people in our lives, the children, are the ones who are starting to form the beliefs. They are believing that, and the paradigm is your computer system that you have running in the back of your mind, and it's subconscious, because you didn't say like, oh no, I don't care about your toe, but the kid has probably understood like, oh, she's really not caring. And if that happens over and over and over time, the kid is going to make the assumption that they must not be so important because of this lack of empathy. Okay, now hold space for this. I understand that if you are the one who's doing that, I have done it too. Don't blame yourself. Hold space. Just learn, because I want to explain this so that you can understand where that is coming from, and where some of your beliefs about your parents and your life, and where this could be coming from. So I'm not saying that to shame you as a mother. I'm not saying that to make you, I'm saying that so you can learn and maybe reflect on how things would have been back then for you. Okay, maybe your parents were really, really busy trying to hustle their life. Maybe your parents were really, really busy dealing with situations that were going on and were completely out of your awareness. Like I remember, like my parents, they had lots of stuff going on they never shared with us, but their behaviors is something that I formed beliefs about myself on. Okay, all right, number 5, an exaggerated sense of self-importance. Okay, if they are really super important, and when we are talking self-care, that is something that can be construed sometimes. Okay, as we're transitioning into self-care as women, right? Especially as women, we try to increase self-care. We're trying to increase to set boundaries and doing these things. We can get hung up by this guilt that exaggerated sense of self-importance is bad. Okay, it's bad. And while it is bad when you are looking at it in a narcissistic trait environment, it is bad to only think about you. I want to challenge you to remember that you are not just thinking about you. Like this morning, I've had a talk with my daughters in the bathroom, and I told them that I need to set boundaries and I need to be doing the things that I need to be doing for myself, and I want them to learn through me. So I am modeling for them, and I want them to learn through what they see with me, that they are going to do that for themselves, so that their life is going to turn out just how they want it. Okay, now that is not selfish. Now that is not narcissistic trait. Okay, so you need to make sure you really reflect on what it is you're doing, and if you are inviting others to be part of it, if you're encouraging others to do the same thing for themselves, that is not self-importance and exaggerated, especially. Number 6, a need for excessive attention and admiration and an ability to handle criticism. Now you can test this. If you're telling people something about themselves and they don't like it, if you tell them that, hey, you know what, you're hurting me, Okay, you're hurting me. You're setting a boundary and you're saying you're hurting me. Your actions hurt me. Can we talk about it? And if they are completely disregarding that and completely always putting it on you, that's a narcissistic trait, my friends. Now, what happens when you have that? What do you think you should be doing when you have someone like that? Yes, that's right. You walk the other way. Okay? And if you can't walk the other way, you shut down, because that is no way to allow these people to change your energy. Okay? That's, if you understand somebody has narcissistic traits and they are not willing to work on them, because when you are criticizing and you are talking about it and they are not there with you, that's, boom, that's your cue. Shut that off. Okay? Your peace is more important than anyone. Okay, and tendency to take advantage of others, that's what they do. That's number 7, okay? They take advantage of others. So if you have friendships, for example, people in your life that are always wanting from you and they're never giving back, and that's just taking advantage. And if you're saying, like, you're setting the boundary and you're saying, like, no, you know what, that's not making me feel good, and then they're making you feel guilty about it, that also is the hard no. Hard pass, right? Hard pass. Okay, so what happens if you're growing up with narcissistic people in your environment? Growing up with narcissistic people in your environment can have a significant impact. I want you to hear that. Significant impact on your psychological and emotional development. Ding. Ding, ding, that's it. Insignificant impact. It has it. You have to become aware that even if somebody is not a full-fledged narcissist, if they had traits, it will have had an impact on your development, right? Psychological and emotional as well. You may experience feelings of worthlessness. Here, pay attention. You may experience feelings of worthlessness and low self-esteem, as well as difficulty forming healthy relationships and trusting others. I get all passionate about it. I do, because so many of us are dealing with this without without awareness. Okay, there's so many people who are not loving themselves. There's so many people who feel worthless. There's so many people who have low self-esteem. Okay, and it's because of growing up with people in their environment that had narcissistic traits. Okay, remember, narcissistic traits are not, it doesn't mean that they are narcissists. It means that they have traits, and they could have been modeled through generations. They could have been modeled. Okay, make sure you understand that. But they have an impact on how you feel. They have an impact on how worthlessness you feel, how you're forming healthy relationships, how you're trusting others. Okay? You can't trust others if you're constantly being stuck the knife into your back. You have to heal that. Now, you also may struggle with feelings of anxiety, depression, and difficulty managing your emotions. So you may have the situations that I've talked about in the past. The fact that when you're always angry, when you freeze, when you cannot control your fight, flight, and freeze responses. Okay, managing your emotions, right? If you can't do that, that may be a sign that you actually came in contact with people who were narcissistic or had narcissistic traits. I do not want to call them a narcissist. I want to make sure that you understand that they had narcissistic traits. Okay? Additionally, you may find you're mirroring the narcissistic traits of those around you, leading to a lack of self-awareness and inability to recognize your own needs and boundaries. Woohoo! Okay, additionally, you may find yourself mirroring. That means you do the same thing. I tell you, okay, I'm going to just come straight out. Many years, I was like that. And everyone who used to work with me knows that. I had no empathy. Even though I'm an empath, I had no empathy to my people who used to be in my team. I used to be a manager. I owned my own logistics company, but I also was a manager. And with my team, I did not have empathy. I did not care if they had problems with their environment. I did not care if they had problems with their children. All I cared was for the bottom line. I also was again being triggered into this by the needs of everyone in my company who wanted to see more of the bottom line. So I was then in this wheel of having to please and trying to get admiration and, doing all the things. I had traits. I exhibited traits, and that was a very hard truth to come by and understand on my healing journey, you guys. This is something where you need to have courage to see yourself as you are. This is where you have to have courage to be you have to be courage to admit that you've had faults. Okay? But it's important. It's important to understand that there's no blame on a healing journey. There is no blame to cast. You have to learn that you take responsibility for yourself. If you want anything to change in your life, you need to take responsibility for your self actions. You need to understand, you need to learn what has been going on, where have I been at, where am I failing to take responsibility for my own healing, where am I exhibiting and mirroring these behaviors. Okay? Where am I not aware enough about myself? Where am I not able to recognize my needs and my boundaries? See, here's the thing. I only reacted angry and lack of empathy with others because I was so exhausted. I didn't know what my needs were. I did not know what my boundaries were. I had none. I was trained to not have any. And so there was always people in my life that were coming into my life, and they would take and take and take and take until I was just completely, all I knew was fight back. I mean, literally, I only knew how to fight back. And it was exhausting. I was so exhausted. Okay? But you need to start being aware. You need to start and saying, you know what? Bam, I've had this, and it sucks, and it hurts. But I can heal. Okay? You can heal. You can heal. So how can you recover from narcissistic people? Because this is all about resilience, right? This video is all about resilience. It's about energy. It's about finding yourself again. So how can you recover from narcissistic people? Set boundaries. Make sure you are clear on what you will and will not accept from a narcissistic person. That, my friends, is the key. Set the boundaries. Before you can set the boundaries, before you can set the boundaries, however, you need to know, who are you? What do you want? What do you want? What do you need? What do you need? What is happening? You have to have the awareness. First, you have to admit there's something going on for you. You have to admit that you've been with narcissistic people who had traits or, were even full-fledged, whatever. But you need to understand, what are your needs? Okay? And when you see what are your needs, you also see where are they not met. That's where you set the boundaries around them. You set boundaries to not just shut people out, but you set boundaries to make sure you are getting your needs met. You make sure you are getting your needs met. That's what you do boundaries for. Okay? That's important. How are you protecting yourself? You have to get resilient enough to learn how to protect yourself. Because these guys, they will be there. They will always be there. They will, and you know what? Even though maybe they were your parents, maybe they were your spouse, maybe they were your partner, maybe you were, but you know what? They are everywhere. Narcissistic personality types that are exhibiting these traits are everywhere. They are online, they are in the media, they are like on your soccer team, they are in your swim team, they are on the street, they are on your school, they are in your PTO, they are wherever, they are everywhere. So if you are a wounded duck, okay, like me, I was a wounded duck. I was a sitting duck, really nicely attracting all these people who just wanted to take because I was freely giving. I had no boundaries. I did not say, I'm sorry, boom, that's too much for me right now. I did not say, nope, I don't want to do that, thank you. I did not realize that no was a complete sentence. And then when I realized no was a complete sentence, I also needed to feel like I needed to deal with that lash of rebound of feelings that came up when I allowed myself to say no. Think about this. Okay, think about this. So setting boundaries, not easy. There's a lot that goes with it, but you can do it. And it's important and it's vital. Number 2, seek support. It is so important to have a support system of people that understand and can provide emotional support. Okay, we somehow think that everyone can support, that everyone can provide the support. It doesn't matter what group coaching you're in. It doesn't matter what. Not everyone can hold that space for you. Not everyone can connect on a level deep enough that you need to recover. Not everyone can hold your emotional baggage. Okay? Because when you share and talk and open up and heal, you are sharing things. Okay? The people who are supporting you are sometimes not capable. They're loving people, they love you, and they're amazing and other things, but they're just not capable of holding what you're sharing. Okay? They just can't. So you need to have support from people who are actually able to provide you the emotional support. So that's number 3. So get professional help. If you're dealing with this, get professional help. And when I say professional help, I'm not talking about only therapy. Mentors, coaches, yes, therapists can be great ways to help you cope with those pain and the trauma and the dealing of all the narcissistic okay, I don't know what's happening. My video just got paused. But yes, so get professional help. Get yourself a mentor. Get yourself a coach that are willing to connect with you. Okay? This is important. If you are someone with narcissistic traits and behaviors and you are trying to achieve something in your business and you realize you're not making it happen, it's likely because there's something off in how you are communicating, how you are connecting, how you are healed, how you are, showing up, how you are resilient. Like some of these things are finding their way into your business, and that's a problem. And you need to make sure that you are dealing with that. Okay. Practice self-care. Make sure you are taking care of yourself, engaging activities that make you feel good. And now I want to share a quick story on that. Okay. I still have to laugh about it. It was just funny. When I came to that part of my healing journey, practice self-care, do something that makes you feel good, I was like, what do I like to do? I had no idea. Now I laugh. I mean, I was crying my eyes out. You have to imagine this, okay? I was crying my eyes out about this back then. But now I can laugh about it because I was just like, I was Googling, what do people do for fun? I was so focused on pleasing others. I was so focused on maybe making sure I didn't step into these eggshell trigger minds all the time, that I had no idea what my identity was. I had no idea what I like to do for fun. I did not have any idea what set my soul on fire, what I wanted to do. Like none. I was just focused on others. I was just focused outwardly. Okay? I was not focused on what makes me feel good. Okay. Focus on the present. Number 5. Don't dwell on the past, on the narcissistic person. So forgive them. Right? If you can't forgive them, but do not forget. Okay? That's important. You can forgive them because that makes you feel better. Do not forget, though, what they do. Okay? Do not forget what they did to you because that was wrong. Don't dwell on the past. Focus on the present moment. What can you do to make it better? You are an adult now. You are not a child anymore. You are an adult. You can heal. Okay? You can heal. You can focus on your personal development growth and your journey. Okay? You can do steps. You can work on your boundaries. You can work on your self-love. You can work on that every single day, on your gratitude, all the things. You can work on that every single day and make yourself feel better. You do not need them anymore. And it is possible, even if they are inside your vicinity, it is possible to detach emotionally. Okay? In my opinion, the best way is to see someone who believes in you, right? When you seek support, you need to have somebody who believes in you, who loves you, and who wants to see you succeed. Just want to say, you know, mentors and coaches really have an interest in seeing you succeed, because when you are not succeeding, they fail too. Sometimes we don't realize that, but when you are hiring a coach or a mentor that is emotional capable, they want you to win. They want you to win because when you win, they win. And every person wants to win, right? So that's really important. So don't forget that when you are embarking on this journey. So I will leave you today with this reminder to please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also subscribe to like that, what's that called, that paradigm resource that I have sitting in my bio. Go ahead and get that, and then tag a person that needs to see this video. So subscribe, tag a person that needs to see this video, okay, and share it to your wall. Spread love and kindness, positivity and knowledge, so together we can heal, connect, and level up, you guys. I would really appreciate if you could do that. There's a power in numbers, okay? Power in numbers. So let's all walk free together.